Hey guys, welcome. This is going to be our new 4.05 demo painting video. I'm just going to go over the supplies that I have. I have some paint here, paper towel, a palette for my paint on, and I have an assortment of different paintbrushes, and I do have a canvas. You don't have to use a canvas. You can use paper if you want to, but I just happen to have a canvas laying around. Okay guys, so here is my canvas that I have. I've done a little bit of sketching on there. It's kind of hard to see, but if I tilt it a little bit, you can see that I have a little vase here. Down here I have an apple, and on this side I have a pear. What I've done is I've drawn a line down the center of it. What we're going to do is we're going to do realism on one side and impressionism on the other. So it's going to be one painting, but in two different styles. Please ignore, I painted over an old canvas, so some of the paint is showing through, and you can see my kids have scribbled on it a little bit. Here are the two examples of the painting from the assignment that we're doing. The one on the right-hand side is the realism, and the one on the left-hand side is the impressionism. So this is what we're doing. I have it a little bit different on my thing, but that way you guys have an idea of what we're doing. Okay, we're going to start with the horizon line. As you can see here, I have drawn this little horizon line all the way across. I'm going to do some paint, get some paint on the ground. I'm going to do the background first. So I'm going to do the background of our table, and then up here with our background there first. Okay, so I'm starting to get some paint down. I'm starting down here with this gray. I know in the photo it was white at the bottom, but there's nothing that's worse than leaving your canvas white. You want to use some color. So I'm going to do white down here, and then I'm going to do like a bluish teal in the background. Remember, this side is going to be realistic. This side is going to be impressionism. I'm going to work on making them more realistic after these layers dry some. So right now we're just getting the paint on the canvas. Okay, we're getting some colors on here now. So I added like a bluish and turquoise color up top and the gray at the bottom. Here is going to be where my pear is. Here's the vase, and right here is going to be where we have that apple or nectarine, whatever that shape is in there. So let's start with getting some colors on our shapes. Also, remember, I have this line down the center where everything is going to change, which I'll make a little bit more distinct when we get into making it impressionism on this side and realistic on that side. I'm going to let these layers dry a little bit and start getting some paint on our objects. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys how I'm adding some paint right down here to make it look a little bit more realistic. I have my picture ready, and I'm just looking at it as reference so I can see exactly how realistic I want this little nectarine to be. I can see there's white areas, which I have white paint for. I'll wait for it to dry, but mainly it's that yellow and that orange and then that red. So I'm just coming in here and I'm adding some of this yellow. A little bit over here. These side areas, some in there. And then I'm going to grab some of this yellowy orange color. And add it around here. Okay, I'm going to let some of that dry. I'm going to start adding my red. So as I'm adding my red, I want to soften it up a little bit. I'm just going to add a little bit of water, clean up these areas, let it blend a little bit more so it's not such a harsh change and transition. I did the red, and then I added a little bit of the orange yellow to it to kind of change my color and get it closer to that color that I'm going for. So I'm just going to play with it a little bit because we want it to be realistic looking. Okay, I'm going to come in with some of the highlights now. I'm adding a little bit of white to the tip of my brush, and I'm just coming in and I'm adding some highlights to make my nectarine pop a little bit more. I'm also going to do the same thing and do a little darker of a color. To get that darker shade, you can use a little bit of violet. I'm going to use a little bit of red and then a smidgen of black with mine. I could use a little bit of blue as well, just to kind of darken it up for down here. Need to let this dry a little bit, but making this start to look a little bit more realistic. While we let that dry, I'm going to start working on the vase. So we're using the white of the canvas to our advantage here as we start adding the highlights on the vase. Remember, we're going to have a line drawn down the middle. This side's going to be Impressionism. This side's going to be Realism. So I really only need to make the one side look realistic. However, just for symmetry reasons, I'm kind of doing it all the way through and then I'll change it up here. So I'm just adding a little bit of shading with my gray here down in this section. We want to show a little bit of gray on the inside of here as well to show the inside of the vase. I'm going to continue this down the vase just to give it some symmetry and depth. I'll come back and we'll start the Impressionism side. Okay, we're starting on the Impressionist side of the vase, so I'm going to add a little bit of more of this like yellowy orange color. You can see on the vase here, we're just going to kind of add a little bit to the rim, to the outside of it, to make it pop more, and then a little bit to the inside, and then add a little bit more of this detail on the sides. Give it some depth so you can see it a little bit better. But you can see it's already making our vase pop. I'm also going to add towards the bottom down here, just a little bit, where the shadowing where the gray would be. Instead, we're going to have that down here. It's going to be like this teal color. So you can already see we have like the two drastic size differences of our colors. Okay, next we're going to move on to our hair. I'm going to start with getting some lime green paint on here and we'll add some detail. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with adding a little bit, while this is drying here, we're going to add some more dimension to our pear. I'm going to get like a tealish color on here and just start coming in with some different colors. Okay, so I started to add some detail on my pear here. Let's go ahead and we'll move to the background of the Impressionism on this side. Okay, so I'm working on the background a little bit here. I started to add a little bit of that crazy Impressionism style texture. I'm going to add some of that now onto the tabletop. I'm going to use some of this like orange, yellow color and start adding that in here. Just kind of intermittently around where our vase is and everything. And then I'm going to come in with that teal and blue color again. Clean out my paintbrush. And add some more of this detail. Just to give it some more excitement, some depth, and make the page seem like it's moving a little bit. That typical Impressionism style. I did the same thing up top. Intermittently going around. I'm not doing this like in any order. It's not like exactly every so many feet I'm doing it, or inches, or however you want to do it. I'm just kind of doing what I feel. Alright, lastly here, I'm going to come in and do a little bit of shading, add some dark gray, use this black with a little bit of that gray, and add some of that darker color on the outside here to give a little bit of shadow around this nectarine or apple or whatever kind of shape it is. I'm going to give it a little thing there also, so we have our little core. And I'm pretty much done. We have our Impressionism on one side And we have our realism on one another, the line down the center so you can see the same. You guys can copy this or you can come up with your own design. What are you going to do? I can't wait to see.